Hi, everybody. Todd Nash, President of Oregon Cattlemen's Association. I'm here today with Matt McElligott. And Matt, congratulations, first of all, on being nominated for our next president position. And this is just an opportunity for you to be able to tell a little bit about yourself. So, first of all, I want you just to introduce yourself to those that may not know you, or to those that maybe know you, but maybe not as thoroughly as you'd like. So the
Okay,
floor's yours.
thank you, Todd. Todd, as you know, Matt McElligott, and I am currently the president-elect with the Oregon Cattlemen's Association. Served in that position coming up on 2 years when our annual meeting comes about. So I've worked on the executive board for a couple of years. I ranch in North Powder and in Grant County outside of Long Creek, Oregon, and have been in North Powder for 18 years. Raised my two kids here. I have a daughter and a son. The daughter is a graphic designer, and my son is a pilot in the Air Force stationed in Texas. My wife works for USDA out of the La Grande office and has worked for USDA for 34 years. I just recently, as of the end of February, retired from a career with Purina. I had 33 and a half years travel in the Northwest with Purina as a representative of that company. So I'm a full-time rancher now here in North Powder, and I just came in from working on a dang flatbed trailer that I couldn't get the lights to work, but I finally got them to work, Todd.
Well, that's quite an achievement. I have a flatbed trailer that you could work on too. I imagine just about all of our listeners do. So, um, Matt, one of the questions I'm going to ask you, what do you see as the most pressing issue in our industry?
Most pressing issue in our industry is number one is age of our industry. Um, the average age of ranchers is in the upper 50s, 57, 58, right in that neighborhood, and creeping up. And one thing I'd like to focus on as being president of OCA is how do we get younger people involved? It's a real capital intense industry. And the only way that I got involved to the point that I am right now is working two jobs, working full time for Purina and then working on the ranch full time and building my ranch, with my wife also working full time and the kids helping when they could. Uh, that's quite a biggie. If you look at our whole country, um, is where are we going next? Are these ranches going to get bigger and bigger and more corporate, or can we keep them in the family and help nationally and here locally with some tax incentives to pass that ranch on to a next generation, whether that next generation is a son and a daughter, a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law, or just somebody totally out of the business. Um, that that's a big issue, and that's if we don't get involved with it right now, it'll be, you know, really biting us in another 10 years.
Okay. What do you see as the greatest opportunity in the cattle industry?
So the greatest opportunity is the same. If we can get young people involved in the industry, in all aspects of the industry, there is great opportunity there. If guys like me and you, Todd, and hopefully you'll get into the Senate in Oregon and you can help me out with a little bit of tax relief for ranchers and young people to get involved in agriculture, because we see, um, as I get older, as you get older, we're probably part of the youngest people as full-time agriculturalists, Todd. And so there's quite a few people that I work with and people that I'm partnered with that are quite a bit older than me. And then they don't have any kids that want to come back. So that's also a real great opportunity. And I think if we can highlight that, and get younger people involved in agriculture, it really be a plus and be a boom for our industry.
Okay. I'm going to give you a scenario, Matt. So the Capitol Press calls up and they have an issue that they want a statement from Oregon Cattlemen's on. It's not an area of expertise. It's not an area where you have expertise in. how do you handle a situation like that? That certainly is an issue that'll have implications in our cattle industry. How do you handle a situation like that?
Two ways to handle that, and I've had to do that in the past, serving for the past 8 years as our Public Lands Committee Chairman and sitting on the board of the Public Lands Council in Washington, D.C., representing Oregon. Um, if it's not in my wheelhouse, though it affects our industry, then I have connections of people that are experts in that area. And in the past, I've said, I may be the Public Lands Chairman, I may sit on the Public Lands Council, but that's not really part of my, expertise. But this person, call this person, and they know all about that, or they're good for that. So that's one way of doing it, and I've done it in the past. Other ways I've done in the past is research that. So sometimes they call out of the blue, and they want to quote right away, particularly if Capital Press. In fact, I just talked with them a couple days ago, but they always give me a heads up. They call and say, "Hey, can I set up an appointment? And this is what I want to talk about." So in that instance, then if I don't have a good breadth of what's going on, then I'll call somebody that does, and contact you, Todd, as the president, or someone else in the area that knows what's happening, and get their input.
Okay. No more questions, Matt. But something that we didn't cover that you would like to talk about, just to the listeners that are listening here today. And so the floor is yours to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I guess if the OCA members are listening, why vote for me, for president? There's two good candidates. First and foremost, I'm in the president-elect position right now, so I've served on the executive board and all of our weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly meetings. So I have a good feel on what's going on from a day-to-day basis. As for the past 8 years, been the chairman of the Public Lands Committee, which was a very active committee in issues dealing with public lands grazing. And Oregon is over half, public lands. A lot of our members are public lands ranchers, so I have good experience there. As far as leadership experience, I've done that. Served on the Public Lands Council in Washington, D.C. for the past 8 years. I'm the Grazing Committee Chairman and have led those talks and written resolutions nationally for our national office. Spent 8 years on a North Powder School Board. I'm a believer in giving back to your community, whether that community is your church, your school, 4-H, FFA. So you always can help people with your experience. And organizations like OCA, don't evolve and can't stay relevant if we don't get good volunteers. So I've got quite a bit of leadership experience. Also sitting on Fair Board in Canyon County, Idaho, when I lived in Idaho. So the second largest agricultural county in the state of Idaho. So I do have leadership experience, and I know I would be a good leader for Oregon Cattlemen's Association.
All right, Matt. Well, appreciate you getting on here today. Appreciate your service to Oregon Cattlemen's Association, and we'll be seeing you very soon.
Todd, thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to talk with y'all.
You bet. All right.